Hello students, welcome to Learning Management System, Chapter 6 Prayer Before Birth, Program A, BSc, Language English, 4th semester, Session 19, Prayer Before Birth, and we are going through the analysis and the question answers segment in this particular PPT slides, and created by Ravi Kumar A. ICD, working as assistant professor in Government First Aid College, Yelahanka, along with Suresh SB as ACD. Prayer Before Birth Analysis. The title of this poem, Prayer Before Birth, allows the reader to imagine a woman close to birth. The speaker reveals that the prayer before birth is from the point of view of a newborn baby. Prayer Before Birth is a poem that is relevant to still today and grows more powerful as the world becomes a more dangerous place. It is a dramatic monologue but has the pattern of an incantation and the spirit of a prayer. Prayer Before Birth takes the reader into the womb of an anonymous mother where a soon to be born baby expresses a fear for its own future in a world potentially full of harm and danger. From the opening stanza, it is not an easy read, but perhaps it is a necessary one. For out of the horse of war come the possibilities of a hope and understanding. If humankind cannot listen to the pleas of an unborn child, who can it listen to that repeated I'm not at war, as if to remind the world, the God as well as to humanity, that there may be time to right things before the birth, time to make all the things right before the birth, that the world may come to its senses in time. Note that each time and every stanza see the last and begins I and ends with me. In every stanza, we can see the line starts with the I and ends with the me. Focus on the individual in an age of mass destruction, where being a human often means nothing more than being a statistic. Also, that the first two stanzas and the last contain two sentences. All other stanzas, the longest, are one sentence stretched out over punctuation. The Prayer Before Birth is a passionate poem with unusual structure, diction, and resonance on the page. It looks both formal and experimental, as if the strange stanzas are diminishing, cut off, retreating from the safety of the left-hand margin. They look as if they are about to melt, losing their original safe structure. A funnel-like structure gives image of a puffed up womb and time before birth. Enjambment allows free flow for the reader, whilst heavy punctuation brings pause after pause. Religious solution occurs. Stanza 4 refers to sins and forgiveness, as if the child is to be born a Christ figure ready for sacrifice, and there is a repetition, anaphora, the plea for the unborn to be heard, to be filled, to be free. Prayer Before Birth is a free verse poem of 8 stanzas, 39 lines in total. There is no set rhyme scheme, though some lines are repeated perfect rhymes and no regular metric pattern. Though 7 out of 8 stanzas have an opening tetrameter line. Alliterative phrases help bind the bring phonetic structure and interest for the reader. Analysis stanza by stanza. Stanza 1. The bat, rat, and the throat are aligned with the misfit ghoul. The bat sucks blood, is a vampire. The speaker starts off with the superstitious acknowledging that the world it's about to leave is is in probably a bit weird. Note that the long sentence broken into the second and the third lines stretching belief, testing the reader's single breath. Stanza 2. The consolation is a religious subject, but here means simply to comfort the unborn child. Already seeks help and support. There is a fear of being walled in walls, controversial, often political, and it barriers between the human beings. The walls, okay, drugged and drugged, lied to fake news, tortured under rack, an old-fashioned instrument of torture and of a bloodied in battles on streets. These are fears enough for the poor child in the womb. The stanza 3, nature fears features so strongly in this stanza, the most hopeful lines in the poem. The element water, the child wants to be able to play in it, the child wants to talking trees, are the beautiful things that make a paradise, a healthy, ideal environment in which to live. All this personification and optimism seems very innocent in context of the poem as a whole. The stanza 4 deals with the stanzas are growing. This one, it as like the womb is growing. This one has since 6 lines and is the most religious of them all. The speaker asks for forgiveness is already with the sin. The strange notion of karmic forces at play are that parents' genes naturally transmit sin. The forgiveness is wanted for all words and thoughts and deeds which the unborn child may unwittingly, without conscious control, control manifest in the world. This seems like a major plea to the divine and the sort of acknowledgement of future evil. Stanza 5. In this stanza is inspired perhaps by Shakespeare's As You Like It, where the character Jacques begins all the world's stage, which would certainly have been known by Magnus, who was himself an excellent playwright. The idea is that all humans are but actors playing different parts in this stanza. A sort of a mini play is outlined, the lead part being that of the unborn child interacting with a great cast of characters from old men to mountains, from the lovers to beggars. In the end, even the unborn child's children are cursing. Such a irony as exploring, exploring, exposing the fears of the child. Stanza 6, a short stanza, repeating the demand to be heard from the first stanza. The unborn child goes to extremes, fearing that a monster, a Christ, that man who thinks he is God, might become a negative influence. What an unusual request. What does the speaker really fear? Is it a fear of being brainwashed, fear of being absurd spiritual? In stanza 7, the longest stanza in the poem, the speaker makes it quite clear that the freedom is supreme. If he is to be born, he doesn't want to end up a robot, a dragon mindless killer, a soulless number without identity. The imagery is quite strong as the speaker compares his future to the tensile town and water spilling through hands, lost to the individual world. This is a cry for wholeness, human wholeness, to have a meaningful existence in an absolute world. The stanza 8, to be a hard, insensitive, heartless thing would not do. To be lost in an evaporate into the air away from humanity would be a disaster. Better the child is not born alive, better to end its life. This is a harsh ending, dreadful in the sense that the unborn child would rather born, not to be born, than suffer the consequences of becoming an automation or disposal thing. Again, of course, the Shakespeare's Hamlet speech, to be or not to be, the circumstances and the settings are different, but the principle is the same. It is a human life and the freedom. It's not it's not it's nothing. Now here we reach it to the question answer segment, the factual questions and answers. Who is the speaker in the poem? The answer is the speaker is in the poem is a soon to be born baby, or you may call it as unborn baby. What is the anxiety of the unborn? This is there is anxiety of being walled in various controversies, often political, drugged, lied to, fake news, tortured on a rack, and in a bloodied in battle or streets. These are anxieties enough for the poor child to in terror to fear. What is unusual about the prayer? Answer. The prayer before birth is an unusual poem which takes the reader into the womb of an anonymous mother, where a soon to be born baby expresses a fear for its own future. In a world potentially full of horror and danger, the child remains all the aspects of world to be repaired and restored before he set up into the world. It is rather ironic to imagine a newborn pleading with God for his life when he has only just been born. It is evident that the author uses a newborn baby as his speaker to cause the readers to realize the fragility of life. What are the fears of the child? What are the fears of the unborn child? Unborn child expresses his fear of compulsion, the fear of being closed in by lies and persuasion, being led by drugs, tortured both mentally and physically, and being made to participate in warfare and other massacres. What are the demands of the child to get consoled? He demands to get consoled from the fears that the human race may, with big barriers, wall him and separate him with strong drugs, intoxicate him with clever deceits, lure him on black ranks, frame me, making him involved in bloodbaths of battles. How will the child commit sins? Also, the child asks the forgiveness for all the sins that the world is going to make him commit in the future. They are his wrong words, his evil thoughts, those times when he is led to commit treason, the times forced to kill other people ultimately for his own death of spirit, because he has been forced to give into these social pressures. What does the child want to be provided with? The answer. The child makes a plea for the good things of life, which today are fast disappearing: clean water, love, forests, birds, and future purity, white light as a guide. Against whom does he want to be strong? He want to be strong against those who would freeze his humanity. Quite clear that freedom is vital, and he is to be born finest. He doesn't want to end up a robo, a mindless killer, a dragon in a military world, a soulless number without identity. Whom does the child want as a companion? Answer. The child asks for companions. He asks God to grant him water to play with, the grass to grow for him, trees to talk to him, sky to sing to him, birds under white light in the back of his mind to guide him. When was the poem written? The prayer before birth by Louis Magnus was written during the terror-struck days of World War II. It places the realities of an evil world into the mouth of an. Unborn child. Paragraph questions. What does the unborn child play for in the poem The Prayer Before Birth? The unborn child uh, prays to God that they can live a good life. They ask God to protect them from the evils of the world, including war, poverty, murder, evils, men and women, and more. The striking connection between the unborn infant and his knowledge of the world's vast features is incredibly effective. Who should not come near the speaker and why? The answer: he pleads the world, first fear, refers to all the frightened things of the night, the blood-sucking bat and rat, the stoat and club-footed cow should not come near to him. Both are real and imaginary, and also the unborn child goes to extremes of fearing that a devil, that the man who thinks he is God should not come near to him because they might become a negative influence. So, list of the anxieties of a child. This child first prey upon entering the world is one that calls for protection anxieties of the world. The newborn asks for the protection from the evils in the spiritual realm. The mystical gowl, rat, and the bat could represent diseases which are often associated with the disease. In the opening stanza, the newborn asks God to protect him from evil spirits and from disease. A plea is made that tyrants and autocrats like Adolf Hitler may not be allowed to come near him. The man who is beast or thinks he is God, a clear contemporary reference to Hitler as beast and his delusional nature as thinking he is God. What does the prayer of the child indicate that about the life on earth? Protect it against the horrors of people experiencing World War II in 1944. The poem is an emotional expression of McNeice's fears of the state in the war-torn country. By writing, adding all the summaries, the whole summary into this question as answer, you will get the whole lot by introducing the First World, Second World War, and its the life, and what are all the fears, and what are all the cruel things and happening, and what are all the inhumanic bloodshedding things are all happening in the world. It should be mentioned here as the answer by covering the next stanza as well. The fifth one is are the fears of the child imaginary and baseless explained. The title of this poem, The Prayer Before Birth, allows the reader to imagine a woman close to birth. The speaker reveals that the poem is from the point of view of a newborn baby. The poem is the prayers of the unborn child to protect himself against the horrors of the people experiencing World War II of 1944. This poem is emotional expression of fears of a state of war-torn country. The poem is relevant still today and grows more powerful as the world becomes a more dangerous place. It is a dramatic monologue but has the pattern of an incantation and the spirit. That's all from me. Thank you. And here we have a good reference from starting with the prints, and we have Wikipedia, it's a good source of materials, and life of Macnice as well, the poet's graves, and the poet archive, as well as the Sparks also gives good information about the poem. And that's all from me. Meet you in the next session. Thank you.